Hello again, everybody, and welcome to a new edition of You Bet CaneSport with Lee Sterling, our weekly look at the Miami Hurricanes from the betting perspective. I'm Gary Furman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined once again by Lee Sterling himself of ParamountSports.com, the only place to go if you want the insight into all your prognostications, not just in football, but in every sport, is Paramount Sports and Lee Sterling. You see the information on the bottom of your screen there, and we will talk a little bit more about Paramount Sports later. But Lee, we got a lot to cover here. This is a big football week, not just for the Miami Hurricanes, but for a lot of teams around college football. And man, things have been pretty pathetic in Virginia, to be honest with you. Like we can't even get a hold of anybody up there. It's they are just not very invested in this game. A lot of lethargy. But then they go out and they seal the deal with James Franklin, and now it's all euphoria up there in Blacksburg. That will not help Virginia Tech on the football field on Saturday, where Miami is a 17.5-point favorite going into Blacksburg. Your thoughts on how that game plays out?
Well, I can bet you that the biggest cheers will be for James Franklin when they show him probably in the booth if he's there. So they'll probably show him 4 or 5
the field for sure. Yeah,
they'll show him 4 or 5 times just to get the crowd all pumped up. There are some people saying that maybe they hired him, right before the Miami game, the last home game, maybe. But they got to get going with recruiting, and he's going to have to hit the recruiting trail because there's not a lot of talent left on this team. Kyron Drone's been their quarterback for a couple of years, never turned the corner. His stats don't look horrible. 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, but he's only thrown for 1,700 yards. He's throwing routinely for like 100 a game. 2 running backs are mediocre, Marcellus Hawkins and Terrian Stewart. Drones, again, is running the ball. He has over 570 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, but they got a couple receivers that are fine. Aiden Green and Donovan Green, 26 and 16 catches. They don't approach anything Miami has. So not a whole lot of weapons. Their run defense is horrendous here. And I think Miami's going to run on Virginia Tech. So I'd lay it here. You got to pay an extra 2-3 points for these teams. They feel that must-win games, and they feel that they can stretch it out. So line should probably be 14.5, 15, but it's 17.5. And I think Mario knows he needs to show out here, and they need to look good. They win by single digits, and all of a sudden the doubters will be back on them. But now everyone's, riding their coattails and saying, yeah, they beat Notre Dame, and if it comes down to head-to-head, we should be in. So I like the matchup here. There's a chance for rain in the morning. I'm looking at the extended forecast, but it's not going to be real heavy rain. It's going to be unseasonably warm. It's going to be like in the 60s. So I think that bodes well for our kids that don't play well in cold weather. So I'll take Miami. I'll lay the 17.5. I haven't won this game, something like 42-17.
Yeah, Miami's got a lot to play for all of a sudden here, with all this talk about the college football playoff. Still, a lot has to happen for them to back into the ACC championship game. But style points really matter right now. Miami should be very highly motivated to put points up on the board. They seem to have discovered a formula that works for this football team that injects excitement into the sideline, trick play here or there, a little bit more versatility to the offense. They won't admit it to me, Lee. They won't admit that they made some adjustments to the offense, but the eye test says that they did, and they should be taking bows for it because it's working well. And Miami should hopefully roll up there in Blacksburg on Saturday. But there's so many other games for us to talk about here that impact the ACC race, that impact the college football playoff. Let me touch on the ACC games first. You got Pitt going to Georgia Tech. Okay, and this is one that's very, very interesting. Georgia Tech is a 2.5-point favorite. They have not been playing well lately, and not sure what's happened up there. You watch every game of every team pretty much, so you might be able to tell us. But this is an interesting one because Pitt did not play well against Notre Dame, but I don't think it helped that their coach said he didn't care about the game before the week during the week, and if all that matters is this: Pitt will be a different team going into Atlanta on Saturday? What happens in that game?
Oh, I think they'll be a different team, but whether they're good enough is the $64,000 question. I think there's certain levels, and Georgia Tech's defense is not good. We know that, but their offense is very good, and all they have to do is win the game, essentially laying 2.5 points. Pitt, they can beat the bad teams, just never seem to be able to beat the good teams, and that's why I think if they lose out, they lose here and they lose against Miami, I could see their coach getting fired. So, like I said, I think they can play up to a certain level. Just think that the quarterback for Georgia Tech just too good running and throwing the football. He's one of these kids that he's bounced around. He was at A&M for a couple of years, been here now 3 years. The kid's a winner, tough. As long as he's not injured, we played him a couple times. Tough guy to defend. So I like Georgia Tech. I have them winning this game, a high-scoring game, because your defense isn't any good. And Henschel, the true freshman for Pitt, is good, but they're on the road. And like I said, I don't know if they have enough weapons. I don't think their defense is good enough, and I don't think their coaching staff is good enough also. So give me Georgia Tech. I think they win this game, something like 40-34.
All right. What's been the problem at Georgia Tech? Why have they not been playing well the last few weeks?
Defense. Yeah. They just don't have the players there, and they've caught a couple teams who were hot. NC State, that one game, CJ Bailey played terrible. I mean, you would have thought that could have been sky high. Sometimes you get too wrapped up and too high for a game, and I think that's what happened to him last week against Georgia Tech. He couldn't do anything wrong. He came back to earth, and we saw the CJ Bailey that we were happy that Miami didn't end up signing, throwing interceptions.
Yeah, Miami really did make him look bad, and hopefully that quieted any talk that Miami may go after him in the transfer portal. He's costing NC State $2 million. Can you imagine Miami paying $2 million plus for CJ? Makes no sense. All right. Let's see. So we also have SMU. They're a 2.5-point favorite at home against Louisville, and a lot of people are going to want to play the what ifs to get Miami to the ACC title game. We figured out two of them. One of them has SMU winning. One of them has Louisville winning. So both of them have Pitt beating Georgia Tech. So when it comes to this game, it's really hard if you're a Miami fan to know who to cheer for. So we just need you to tell us what's going to happen. SMU, Louisville, SMU -2.5.
I favor SMU here. I think Brown needs both their Browns at running back. They complement each other well. And, the kid from Homestead who didn't play last week has been out more than half the year. Looks like he probably won't play again. He's probably done for the year. And then the backup, number 22, Brown, played well. And then he got, banged up. Their quarterback, just don't know if he's good enough to win games for you. So they played well, obviously, against Miami. They had every break go their way, every tip ball. But they're going to be up and against the SMU team. Seems to be, they're Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. One game they played great. Who knows how they lost that game to Wake Forest. But at home, they seem to get up for the big games here. And I'm just not impressed with Louisville of late here, finding ways to blow games here, not win the close ones. Give me SMU at home. I think Jennings is probably the difference here.
Louisville was rough in that Clemson game. Yeah. Wow. I mean, that was crazy. They had like 5 personal fouls. I mean, how do you have so much on the line and you're sitting there, getting almost 100 yards and the personal foul penalties. Makes no sense. All right. There's a game that has big implications for the college football playoff, and Oregon is at home this weekend against USC that badly needs to make something happen to get into the mix of the college football playoff. They're 9.5-point underdogs. Can USC go on the road to Oregon and make that a game?
Well, they're better this year because they're better defensively. They couldn't match up against physical teams last couple of years. Their defense was sharp and soft. All of a sudden, they can play against tough teams. They beat Michigan, who's physical team, Nebraska, Northwestern, and Iowa. Won all those games. And even the game Iowa was played in the rain last week, the entire game. I was impressed with that. The only game they lost against a physical team was Notre Dame on the road. No shame there. So I'm impressed with USC. Maeva, the quarterback, is good. Dante Moore looked like he was ascending, but they've lost 3 of the top 4 receivers, and maybe one of them will be back for this week. So they can't hit on those big plays like they used to at Oregon. So this Ducks team needed overtime to beat Penn State, lost at home to Indiana, struggled at Iowa here. I think both quarterbacks are good here. I think the line should be less than a touch, and I have Oregon pulling it out, which would be good for us. But I think 9.5 points is too much. Ducks win 28-25, game that goes down to the last possession.
Yeah, if USC were to pull the upset, I'm not sure what they would do with Oregon. How far they would drop them. It would seem like they would drop below Miami, but USC would come up as well. So I don't know. Lee, before I let you go, everyone's consumed with this college football playoff. That's ahead of Miami could lose, and Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Texas Tech look like they're solidly in the playoff.
Right.
Probably Ole Miss too. Okay, so then you get to the next tier where you have Oregon, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama, BYU, and Utah. Which of those teams do you think could make some room for Miami?
I think a couple of them. I think Oklahoma, believe it or not, could get upset this week by Missouri. I'd take Missouri in the points in that game. Oklahoma's coming off a real physical game against Alabama. Everything went right. Missouri can run the football. Probilla is practicing for Missouri, so he could be back for this game. And they've come close in a bunch of games. They almost had Alabama, played them within a touchdown at home. So I think that Missouri
at home against Oklahoma.
No, it's at Oklahoma, but it's not like Oklahoma has this great home field advantage unless the officials are helping them out like they were in that Auburn game. So they're ripe for the picking. I also think that BYU is. BYU, nothing special. They're playing Cincinnati on the road. They were dominated by Texas A&M. I think they look closer at them. You're going to see that was their only loss, but they were blown out. The score is not indicative of how bad they lost. I think Cincinnati might be able to take them. Sorsby, the quarterback for Cincinnati, and the 3 junior college receivers, very good. Utah, I don't see losing this game. They could maybe lose a conference championship game. They'll beat Kansas State. The only thing to look out for, the AD for Utah is now on the selection committee. So,
yeah, but if they lose the conference championship game, they go to 3 losses.
Right, they'll be out.
I mean, you got to think so. Miami's got a shot. They just got to stay focused here, get it done this weekend, put a lot of points on the board, be impressive. And I think the outside world's putting an enormous amount of pressure on the committee to pay attention to that head-to-head Miami-Notre Dame game. So
I agree. Finally. But they woke up. And one other game is Kentucky and Vanderbilt. I think Kentucky might be able to give Vanderbilt a game here. Vanderbilt's got to win this week and against Tennessee. That's going to be tough. People discounting Kentucky. The last couple games, the 2 running backs they have, Dante Dowdle, Seth McGowan, have run for a combined 350 yards. Their defense has been good. They only gave up 3 to Auburn, 7 to Florida. I know the game's on the road, but look at Stoops. Mark Stoops, he's 7-2. Last 2 years, getting 7 points or more against the spread here. And he's won 3 of the last 5 against Vanderbilt. The only 2 losses were by 7 points last year and a few years before that by 3 points. I think you take the points in Kentucky. I think that's another game. The line's a little too high. Should be 5, 6, 7 points tops, not 9.5. You pay a premium. You want to bet Miami. You want to bet Vanderbilt. You want to bet, Oregon. You want to bet Oklahoma. You're going to pay an extra couple points if you want to back them.
All right, Lee. It's getting late in the year, but I'm sure you got some late season specials there at ParamountSports.com. What do you have for the fans this week?
Yep. Rest of the month through the end of the month, $197, not November, call it Dovember. 2 weeks of action. Our phone service, college football and the NFL. Or if you just want NFL on Sundays, 5 selections every Sunday. We're on a 33-11-1 run. Last 9 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 selections every week in the NFL. It's called Lee's NFL Sunday Golden Ticket. Everything's up and available, ParamountSports.com.
The Golden Ticket. with gold on the other end, hopefully. So fingers crossed on that one.
Yeah.
All right, we thank you so much for joining us this week on You Bet CaneSport with Lee Sterling. For Lee, I'm Gary. We'll see you next week, everybody.